show going, man.
Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
Hurry up! Hurry up!
Come on now. We're going to have action soon. Right here. It ain't going nowhere.
Boy, yeah, you got some technique, boy. You ain't show me that this summer.
Hey, Wildcat.
Ball at the 5, third down and 2.
That was bad.
Let's go have some fun, bro. We ain't got to talk about too much.
He wasn't playing the ball.
It's holding!
Cliff, the Cliff. How is that not called?
That ain't going to call a damn thing.
What is the delay for? He's standing right there.
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper.
It's that close? Dear Lord.
Hello and welcome. I am not an Aussie guy, but here with me is G. Hello, G.
Memphis, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Taking over from AJ.
You know, I could never take over for AJ, but it was certainly an honor when you asked me to jump on and help you. But I thought we'd bring some rowdy friends on with us. You want to introduce some of our guests there, G?
Well, I'd like to introduce at least two of them. The third one, I'm not too concerned. He actually said he wasn't going to come on. It sort of made my day for the rest of the day, but he's actually turned up. So we have the fellas. We have Kyle and Seth. G'day, guys.
G'day. Good morning, man. I'm glad I could disappoint you.
Actually, I'm not too concerned now after that Memphis posted up of your get-together at the Colts and Cowboys game, and then I realised that on one side of you have a defensive tackle, on the other side you have a linebacker, and then there's a punter in the middle. So,
you know what? The trolling from that experience has not ended. I don't know if you saw, but I posted this on Twitter on Thursday morning. I'm going through my email, and all of a sudden there's an email there looking for some last-minute holiday gifts, and the subject line, or it said it was from the Colts. I'm like, what the hell is this? I open it up, and it's a Colts email asking if I want to buy season tickets. I'm like, how the hell? I didn't buy the tickets myself. Seth took care of that. I didn't go search anything about that I was going to be at the game or any of that crap. And all of a sudden, somebody found me and signed me up for that. I think somebody did that to me. So
it was that security guard.
It's been a fun week.
It was that security guard.
Yes. The security guard who thanked everybody with a Cowboys jersey on.
He thanked you for coming. He asked you how you were doing. The people in front of us drove all the way from Texas. And I did a little Google. When that guy said that, I was floored. The closest spot from Indianapolis to Texas, like the closest border, is about a 16-hour drive. So that poor guy drove 16 hours with his lady friend in a brand new Van Der Esch jersey to watch the Cowboys get their asses handed to them.
It was not a good day. Not a good day to be a Cowboys fan there in Indy, but it was fun times to hang out with those guys.
And G, you have a new member, a new guest, never been on the Aussie guys before.
No, and we have to get him on, and that's your co-host on the Dynasty Warzone, and that's Jerry. Jerry, how you going, buddy?
Good. It feels good to be part of the big time now. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Usually, I'm the second worst member of my own podcast, but it's good to be in the top 5. Still, just the bottom end of that. And just for the record, you guys are complaining about the Cowboys and everything else. Try being a Lions fan.
Ah, that's true. Ooh. That is true.
At least you have smelled division titles and playoff wins. I was 3 the last time we won a division or a playoff game.
Yeah, you can thank the rest for that.
The last time they won a championship was the year my dad was born. He just turned 60. Oof.
Did you go to the unveiling of the? Didn't they unveil some banners a couple of years ago?
For just winning 8 games or something.
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
It was the Jeff Fisher banner.
Yeah, winning the division. The most recent one from 91, I think, or 92.
Yeah, it's either that or you can go to the Super Bowl and have the biggest lead of all time and then piss it all away. So, one or the other. And be sitting in the same room with a Patriots fan as it's going on. So that wasn't a great day. Then I had to drive home an hour and a half from his place down the freeway. Yeah, I got home okay, but I probably cut a few people off and upset a few people. So...
Well, in honor of AJ, it's an Aussie guy's tradition. We got to do drinks of the pod.
Well, I did have a drink at the pod. I went because I was on holidays for the last couple of weeks, and I came through customs and loaded up on the alcohol, and I started into a bottle of Bombay Sapphire gin, but I was an hour early drinking it, so it was a gin and tonic.
A little gin and tonic. Well, what about you, Jerry? I think you said you're double coffee.
I am. I got double black coffee with sugar. I am two-fisting that right now.
Double fist and black. So as we record this in the States, it's 7:15 for Jerry and I and 6:15 for the fellas. So, fellas, what are you drinking, Seth?
I'm drinking water. I got home 4 hours ago from a company holiday party, so
the eggnog was flowing. I bet.
You went hard in the paint. This is a basketball reference, but Seth went hard in the paint last night. He's back here in the morning.
Were you the one taking your clothes off? There's always one. Is it you? Please tell me it's you.
No, I don't hate anyone that much.
Any photocopier debauchery?
No, probably not. It was all hoity-toity a bit this year. Too many new people that are like the older persuasion. Last couple of years, it's gotten it could get pretty sloppy, but no. Other than that, everyone was very chill.
Well, what do you call the old persuasion? What age group are we looking at?
Probably like your and I's age group, G.
Oh, that's what I was afraid of.
That's what No, we're safe then. We're safe.
Holy
hell. Yeah.
I'm all right.
Say, G, we're cool.
Great by then.
Yeah, well, we act like we're 12, so we got that going for us. Speaking of acting like you're 12, Kyle, what are you drinking this morning?
Hell yeah, you know what it is, man. I got a Monster. I'm rocking the Monster Rehab today. So tea and lemonade. So
that's your go-to.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The Rehab ones are really good, and then the white one that will probably be making its debut here later in the day because I'm tired. But I couldn't miss doing the podcast with you guys. I did try to bail out so I wouldn't have to deal with any Aussies on my own on my Fridays. But you know what? I figured, that's the wrong call. I got to call an audible here. So luckily I had a Monster in the fridge, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I prepared for this. I knew we had been putting this show together. So I stopped at the local convenience store, and I already drank all the white Monsters. I just grabbed one out of the fridge. I thought it was the white Monster, but it was actually a Bang energy drink. And this thing's got like twice the caffeine. It's got some healthy stuff in it. It's got like some creatine and some BCAA. So I feel healthy AF right now. So until my heart rate doubles, I'll let you know when that happens. But so we brought this gaggle of knuckleheads together today to prepare you for Week 16 and chasing the championship. No Thursday night game this week. We've got 2 good games on Saturday. I guess one game and one good game on Saturday. But I thought we just go around the horn real quick and talk about how our Week 15 turned out and see what you got going on in Week 16. So I'm going to go backwards this time and go, Kyle, what's going on with you coming out of Week 15 into Week 16?
So we, as people might have followed along, Seth and I drove down to Indy Week 15, hung out with Memphis, and watched the Colts dismantle my Cowboys live in person. But that was during the 1 o'clock slate. So I was kind of like, we were kind of keeping track, and it was just like, no one scored a touchdown. Yep, still no one in the entire league has scored. So, like, obviously then we check back in on Twitter, and everyone's just tilting their faces off. And we look back at we did our recap show, and it was like, yeah, this is not a great week for fantasy and scoring and all that. But then I looked at all my own matchups, and I was like, man, I must be the worst fantasy football player ever because I'm dominating. Like, there were so many leagues where I was just, like, lucked out pretty much. So last week was really good. I'll be playing for 8 championships out of 17-ish leagues that have playoffs. So this year has been awesome, and I'm not going to celebrate yet. I want to win a couple of these things. So
yeah, you don't want to get a stat correction on Thursday.
Correct. Yes, correct. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about that.
I had to throw that hand grenade in here.
Yeah, big time home league. I gotta try to go back to back. Seth and I are co-own a few of those squads as well that made the playoffs, and one of those is a huge one of our bigger money leagues that we dominated all year and made the comeback thanks to our boy Christian McCaffrey. And then IDP league too with Seth. So I'm sure I'll leave the rest to him for that one. But But yeah, man, looking good for Week 16. Hoping for some bounce back. I got Melvin Gordon on a few squads I was able to sneak through, so I'm looking for a big game from him on Saturday. So Week 16 should be fun.
All right, and then let's bounce it over to your co-host, Seth. Seth, how'd your Week 15 going into 16 turn out?
Unfortunately, I had to lose to Kyle in the listener league.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, my team wouldn't have been able to pull it off in Week 16 anyway. Cam Newton was my main quarterback in a 2 QB league. My other quarterback was Case Keenum, so that's basically a no-go
terrible
right now. It is terrible. I don't know how I got to that point anyway, but I have one championship where in our Fellas Dynasty League that I'm going to be trying to knock off the current points champion, and then the other leagues, 3 other leagues that I'm sharing with Kyle, one of which will be going up against G on this fine podcast here. That one's going to be a heck of a time. I can't tell. Like, I'm looking at the lineup right now, and it's like Chris Godwin. If you put up another donut, you're going to be dead to me.
Godwin Sheps, actually. It's Godwin Sheps, his hyphenated name, like Maurice Jones-Drew. It's Godwin Sheps in these parts. And but before I go to G and he tells us about that clash of titans between the fellas and G, Jerry, how was your Week 15? We're just catching up because you and I were not able to record the Warzone per usual this week.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, my dynasty teams, they decided to poop themselves. The one league, I thought I had the championship in the bag. I got Marlon Mack in that one by the 5th seed, so that broke my heart a little bit. But all my redraft leagues doing really good. My main home league, the most competitive league I got going, I'm in the championship, and I'm going against the guy that's tied for the most championships. And if I can win, I can tie him for the most, or he jumps ahead of me by 2. So we've been going back and forth like mad. And then my work league, which is actually super competitive, which is weird. Usually that's the throwaway. I'm in the championship in that one. Not looking good, though. I would love to lie to you and say I'm going to win that one. I'm going to need a Christmas miracle, my friends.
Well, it is the time of miracles. You got a shot?
Yeah. I'm really going to need it, though. He's got it.
Oh, speaking of miracles, I hear jingle bells.
It's a miracle. Santa's coming.
All right. Well, G, tell us about the Christmas miracle you need.
I need a big one this week up against, in the 2 legit league, up against Seth and Carl. They're, I think they've got it on me at the moment. My offense is not the greatest and hasn't been helped by the fact that Tyler Boyd's not going to play. So I've got to rely on my defenses I've had. And I don't think I've ever put up the highest score for the year. So I'm going to struggle in that one. But it is what it is. I'm not out there. I can't change it. You can only put your lineup in, and what happens is in the lap of the gods after that, really, isn't it? So I'm in 15 leagues. I made the playoffs in 12 of them, and then that got whittled down to 4 by the end of this week. It was just a shocking week for me all round, really. But I'm in one redraft league, which is the redraft league that got at the whole Aussie guy thing started. That was the first league we ever started. Me and AJ started up. So I'm in the final of that for this, I think, the second time in 3 years. I think it's probably about the 3rd time I've been in it. I've won it once up against my good mate, Chris, the analyst. So, look, his team's not that great, I must be honest. And he's got through on, I don't know, just sheer luck and will, I think. I think the low scoring of the last 2 weeks has really helped him out. But, so I've got a pretty good lineup there. So I'm pretty confident about that one. And just one other one that I'm in, which is the toilet bowl, which I just spoke to you guys about off air, was the fact that I won the league last year and now I've ended up second last this year for the simple fact I think that nothing's changed except Le'Veon Bell didn't play for me. It's amazing how, I suppose, one guy who's as good as he is and racks up as many points has really just sort of disabled my team. But the good fact about that is that you play off for the first round pick of the toilet bowl, and the rest of my team's pretty good. So if I can win that this weekend, I get the first round pick. Lev Bell comes back next year, and the world is good again.
wheels up when you get Lev Bell and the number 1 pick. So I got fellas in the IDP league. We had a family affair in the semifinals of that, my first ever IDP run. It was G and Sheps. G came out victorious, and I was playing the fellas, and all they had to do was breathe, and the score went up 15 points. I'm like, what's going on? What in the blue hell's going on? I'm like, they have no one going. But it's IDP. I'm new. So good luck to you guys. Hard to have a rooting interest. Go G. But to say that I got fantasy football last week would be an understatement. So I was in 9 semifinals, made it through to 4 championships, and my absolute best, most stacked team lost because it had players like Drew Brees and Saquon Barkley and Amari Cooper and Eric Ebron, and you can see how, if you watch Week 15, that was no good for old Memphis. But then I had another league where this team has no business in the Super Bowl this week. I mean, my wide receiving core is Dante Pettis and Robbie Anderson, if that tells you anything. So, but I'm playing for championship gold. So it's been a really, really interesting week. So I'm playing for 4 championships. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go around, since we have all these really smart fantasy minds pulled together. Did everybody get a Pro Bowl snub? I know I have mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll just jump right to it. Mine's Andrew Luck. And
never heard of him.
Never? Yes, you have. Those are damn lies, Kyle. He was the guy who led the dismantling on the offensive end of your Cowboys. He didn't throw any touchdowns because he also hurt me in some leagues. But he did hand it over to that graybeard, that silver fox, Adam Vinatieri, who kicked a lot of field goals, which one field goal would have been enough because our defense shut out the Cowboys. But anyway, Andrew Luck, to this point in the season, he's thrown, we'll call it 4,000 yards. He's got like 3,950 yards on the season, 30-plus touchdowns, only 12 interceptions. And yet, Tom Brady is going to the Pro Bowl in his place. I mean, Andrew Luck's only got like 1,100 more passing yards, 13 more TDs, and only 1 more interception. But this is what happens in all-star games, and it's every all-star game. It's not just the Pro Bowl. It's fans and people just vote off name recognitions. It's like, here's a ballot. Oh, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. I'll just check box that name. So Andrew Luck got snubbed. It's like the story of his career. He got passed over for the Heisman in college. He got passed over for Rookie of the Year in his first year in the NFL. And I'm sure this year someone else will win Comeback Player of the Year. Like David Johnson will win Comeback Player of the Year because that's how the NFL works. So I'll throw it over to G. G, who is your Pro Bowl snub? Because you and I talked about this off air earlier in the week.
Yeah, look, I've written down both AFC and NFC, everybody that made it, and there's a stack of guys, more so on the AFC side, not so much on the NFC side, that sort of got a bit of a snub. I agree with Luck. Even Big Ben, hey, 6 more TDs, 483 more yards. Okay, threw 6 more interceptions than Brady, but he probably threw a hell of a lot more passes as well. And I just don't get the whole Brady thing. It does my head in, seriously. Look, the RBs on the AFC side, Connor, Gordon, Lindsay, probably Joe Mixon's a little bit stiff. And look, if Nick Chubb had started the season, he probably would have made that roster, I reckon. I thought Juju was maybe a little bit stiff on the wide receiver side. Had a pretty good year. Tight ends. I reckon Cook's a bit stiff. Honestly, you think of the offense that he plays in, and he's the only guy that they threw the ball to. The whole offense moved basically through him. Okay, his numbers, his touchdowns weren't as good as Ebron, but you got Luck throwing you the football, and the only thing Ebron was doing is catching touchdowns. He wasn't actually moving the ball down the field too much for them. So I think he's a little bit stiff there. On the NFC side, geez, you have to think, is Alvin Kamara stiff? Is Christian McCaffrey stiff? Well, they can't be, mate. Like, who you have to, if you're going to say they should be in, who do you take out of Gurley, Barkley, and Elliott? Someone tell me.
Well, I'll let Kyle take that because you mentioned his personal favorite, Zeke Elliott. Although he didn't do anything on Sunday, he got Darius Leonard.
Hey, but he didn't fumble. So.
Dude, I mean, we're gonna keep setting that fire all day.
I'm gonna sidebar this for for 1 minute, and I'm just going to ask Jerry and G what their opinion is on this situation, because the other guys are aware of this. So real quick, I'm in a dynasty league that I'm the commissioner of. It's I would say half the guys know what they're doing, and the other half are like, cool, I'm in a dynasty league, right? So I think that's an accurate description of this group. So, and it's relatively quiet all year. It's not a lot of movement there, but for some of these guys, I think it's their only dynasty league. So we keep it going, and it's fine. So our championship matchup, the top team that kicks our butt every single year, had lost by 1 point, and he had Zeke Elliott on his team. So the championship match was set right and everything, and then on Thursday there was a stat correction, and Zeke got changed to not losing a fumble, so he got 2 points back, and he's in the championship now. So we had two scenarios here. One person was ticked off because they weren't in the championship now due to a stat correction, and then another person, we had opened up trades for everybody but the championship teams, and one of those teams had made a trade with my boy Memphis here, which involved the first-round pick of the team that was out of the championship that is now in. So instead of being the 10th pick out of 12, it's going to be the 11th or 12th pick. So I refused to reverse the trade because I told him, hey, you know the risk, and you didn't have to make that trade within the 3-day period of the pending stat correction. So as the commissioner, G or Jerry, how do you think I should have ruled on those two situations?
I think it's fine. I mean, is he really that upset about the one spot being a difference?
Oh, he left.
Oh,
he up and left the league.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to guess this is one of those people that's just, hey, I'm in a dynasty league type of guys of that group. Man, like really? It's one spot.
It was unbelievable. I was waiting for people to start banging on my door in my house. I was like,
a lynch mob outside your home.
Unbelievable. I was like, yeah, okay, maybe that was a mistake as a commissioner. Maybe I should have just waited a couple extra days. But at the same time, I did warn everybody. And Memphis even joked around about the stat correction, and on Monday, and then it happened. So I was like, okay. And the funny thing is, then we looked at the guy's team that left due to the draft pick, and he has 5 first-round picks. So it was just and
you're
stacked.
This was a guy that last year you made it clear, because last year was the Barkley year, and everybody was pulling a 76ers and trusting the process, and they were tanking. And you had to get up on your pulpit and like fire down hell and brimstone and say, God damn it, guys, you're not tanking. Set your damn lineups. And you gave this guy a pass at least once. And you know what? He still wound up with Barkley. Cool. No one's complaining. No one's pitching a fit. But the one time something goes against his way, I won't get into it. But this is the second time. So I made a trade with a guy last year that involved an injured Dalvin Cook. He blew his ACL. That had me getting Kamara, and there was some smaller parts in there. And the guy pitched a fit. Kyle ruled in his favor, and I was like, cool. I didn't like it, but you know what? Kyle was the commissioner. And so these guys are babies. G, you're probably laughing at all of us. What are you
shaking my head, mate.
What give us an honest Australian opinion amongst us crazy Americans.
The guy's a wanker.
Amen.
Look. I when Zeke came out, I played in the toilet bowl and I won. And AJ forgot to reverse the order of the draft, so I ended up picking second. And mate, I'm a massive fan of Zeke. I wish I was a Cowboys fan a bit. I just really enjoyed watching him through his whole college days. But anyway, look. It happened, and AJ, look, he goes, what do? Do you want me to tell the guy that you were meant to pick first? I said, no, it's just, mate, it's in the end, it's fantasy to me is a game. It's something that I enjoy. I'm not going to get overly upset about it. I did when I first started playing it. I took it too seriously. I used to be on my phone the whole day, didn't get any work done, watching numbers, getting upset. Someone was getting closer to my score. Which actually I had a flashback on Monday, sitting here at home. I had the day off. No, Tuesday it would have been here watching the Panthers Saints game, because Sheps had he had Cam and Michael Thomas going. He only needed 42 points to beat me now 2 legit leagues. So I'm sitting there. Both whoever was on the field, both offenses was just like, oh my God, don't throw it, no, oh no. I run over the computer, check how many to get points for that, But But now I just sort of, mate, it is what it is. It's a game. It's meant to be fun. And the only reason I do it, and the best part about it, and I've said to you guys before, is doing a pod and playing these games, is meeting dudes like you. So, you know, the dude's taking it way too seriously. And he's a complete tool.
It was just disappointing. I commissioned like a bunch of leagues, and I just try to take the approach of, if no one has to hear from me, then I'm doing a good job, because I don't want to get involved with anything unless I absolutely need to.
And you do a great job of doing that, by the way.
It was unbelievable. I don't know. So both those owners left, which was the
one guy threatened lawyers.
Blew me away.
He was like, "I'm gonna have my attorney look at this." I thought he was bullshitting at first. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Francis left.
Yeah.
Or France?
Yeah. Yep.
No,
stat correction.
I'm gonna have to edit out his name. He's already.
Go.
There will be lawyers. There will be lawyers.
Anyway.
And it's like, and Kyle did nothing. It was MFL. This is an MFL dynasty league.
Yeah.
Kyle did nothing. MFL did it all. You know, it's not like.
I wish I would have seen his face when he first found out that he was going to leave. Just like, what? I'm sorry, what?
You called him Francis.
Hey, Jerry, we got an orphan for you. We can put you guys right to a couple of orphans.
He's old and plays for the Dolphins, right?
Exactly.
So that was my commissioner sidebar. I was blown away. I was like looking around. I'm like, can anyone validate what the hell is that I'm doing here? Like, people are freaking out. But anyway, so back to the Pro Bowl. Zeke deserves to get in. He's the man this year. I love the pass reception, especially for fantasy, but his overall numbers are beastly. I agree. I love Christian McCaffrey's breakout season. I thought you could definitely put him on that snub list, but then when you look at it, like, hey, who are you going to take out? So that's 100% right. The guy that was on my snub list was a running back as well. It's Joe Mixon. The guy's been a stud this season, despite what's crashing and burning around him. He is 5 yards away from 1,000 rushing yards on the year. He has 8 touchdowns. He has another, about 300 yards through the air. He's just been a solid running back. He's 4th in the league in rushing. And, I like Philip Lindsay. He's a lot of fun. He's had a lot of touchdowns. So I'm not sure you can take him out of there. Connor, to me, is the one where I'm just like, okay, like I get it. He plays on the Steelers. That's why he's here. That's pretty much what that came down to. I would have put Joe Mixon in over James Conner.
All right, Mr. Seth, who was your snub?
I got to go with the guy that has been the powerhouse of the Fellas Dynasty League and the Too Legit League here, Darius Leonard for the Colts. 146 tackles. 146 tackles this season. And
missed a couple of games.
Yeah, and you're looking at Von Miller. Now, Miller has twice as many sacks, but he only has 45 tackles. And Leonard coming in as a rookie and just absolutely annihilating the competition is that's disappointing.
That's a good call, Seth. He has destroyed the league this year for a rookie.
And we
seriously destroyed.
And we saw him for the first time. I mean, I did for the first time, and so did the fellas live in person. And they have them on the IDP league.
Just keeps taking shots.
And it's like. But literally, the first 10 plays, would you guys agree, every defensive play, Darius Leonard was involved. Up, running down the tight end in the flat, Darius Leonard. Tackling Zeke, Darius Leonard. Recovering the fumble. I was like, this is great for my actual football team. But every time. And then he almost recovered a fumble. Yeah, I didn't want to go too many Colts. Jerry, who was your snub?
I actually had Darius Leonard.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Adam Vinatieri. No. Keep the Colts theme going.
Everybody hit everything. Can we get more running backs in the Pro Bowl? We can't just get one per quarter. Even it's not like they're going to take it seriously anyway. Because Christian McCaffrey is going to hit 2,000 yards. I mean, I get that you're not going to take anyone else out, but that dude deserves to go because he's been a monster. Joe Mixon, same thing. Listen, Connor, I get it. Just like it was already talked about. He was the name in the beginning. He was replacing Le'Veon Bell, and he did good to start the season. Joe Mixon's been a monster, and I was not a Mixon guy. I was sort of a pessimist on him. Wrong. Put Joe Mixon in there. Come on, stop it.
He's also missed some games too. I think he missed a game and a half or 2.5 games because of a knee thing. And how much better would his stats be? So I mean, if you go like on a yards per game and if you want to go from a fantasy standpoint, a fantasy points per game, Joe Mixon's been a monster.
Yeah, and you got to give him his due. Like, not only is he beating the defensive line and the linebacker on the second level, and then he's getting up to the corners, but he's having to beat his own offensive line. They suck.
And he's been without his quarterback he's been without his quarterback and his best wide receiver. AJ Green's missed a ton of games. Andy Dalton's been out he's been doing it with Jeff Driscoll. Every defensive coordinator in the league knows it's the Joe Mixon show. Yet he produces anyway. So I didn't even think about that, but that's a fantastic choice of a snub. Any other snubs before we give these people our flex start instead of the week, and then some QBs of the week? Any other snubs going once?
Going twice.
All right.
I mean, by the time all the guys that say they don't want to play, just bail out, and then the Super Bowl teams and all that, Derrick Henry's going to be playing in that game. It just happens every year. And then there's just the towel boy for the Bears now is out here playing receiver because all these other guys don't actually want to play in this game. So it'll work its way out eventually. CMC is going to make it. He'll be there in some shape or form. So this will work its way out.
It's that being the first ballot.
If you guys look at the AFC and the NFC, they just on the skill positions, who wins out? Do you know the place?
I think the AFC is, I think the NFC. Sorry, I'm looking at it right now. I think the NFC is just a powerhouse because they got the top 3 running backs, in my opinion, and they're close enough in the wide receivers too because you got Adams and Julio, and then Michael Thomas right on the NFC side. So I think they're beastly.
Yeah, I say the running backs are the tipping point for the NFC.
Without a doubt. Agreed.
All right, Jerry, give us your flex start of the week. Who is Jerry starting? And then give us your flex sit of the week.
I went with Chris Carson going against Kansas City. The dude's been good the last month or so. I was a Rashad Penny guy. I thought he was going to take it, and that is just I've been eating some humble pie on that. Carson's been good. They're going to need to put up points against Kansas City. So he's going to be my guy. My sit, listen, I keep saying his damn name, and he keeps just producing, but I'm going to go with it again. I'm going to go Mike Evans versus Dallas. Dallas has been playing awesome defense, I mean, this weekend aside, but even then they stopped him to field goals. But, I mean, Mike Evans has been getting 4 catches a game. Now, he's got a chance to catch a 40-yarder like he has been. I'm not throwing that out, but as far as having a big game, one of those games that he's the one that wins you your championship, I don't really think it's Mike Evans. Now, if you have him, you're playing him. Don't get me wrong. But I would temper expectations on that boy.
All right.
That's not good for me. I got him playing against the Seth and Cole in the legit league.
I got that too. But go, Jerry.
Go, Jerry. All right. Seth, go ahead.
Yeah, this one, it's tricky because I think there's a couple of wide receivers that really fit the bill for this one. And, Kyle, you can just deal with whatever one I pick because I'm sure one of these guys is on your list. I think Jordy Nelson in any sort of PPR format, I'm looking a little bit deeper at the flex position here, and I think that's a very solid play. Like that's a floor play for you if you're looking to just I cannot take a 0 in this flex spot. And if you wanted someone with a little more upside, I'll say Robert Foster for that as well.
You just gonna take them all?
Yep.
Well, I think Seth is also going to roll.
I apologize in advance.
What the hell?
Who are you sitting, Seth?
Man, I'm going to vamp a little bit here so that Kyle can pick a different guy now.
Both those guys are my starts of the week on our show, and you already know, and you just take them both.
Yep.
Good work, Seth. You stick it to the man.
God,
I am a jerk. My sit of the week in terms of the flex position is it's Sony Michel. He's down outside of my top 24 running backs. Now, with Josh Gordon being out, I don't think that actually affects anything in the running back game at all. And Buffalo's been a pretty decent defense so far this season. And it's more of just I don't see where the upside's going to come from here. So that would be my sit.
All right, I'm gonna go to the very ruffled feathers of Mr. Kyle of the fellas.
Unbelievable. You gotta be kidding. I first of all, I guess I'll piggyback off my co-host, fabulous start flex position players. I love both those guys. They were my starts of the week on the show. Jordy's been very solid. I got him just inside the top 24, and Foster has been a beast. And I, obviously heard this name over at the Dynasty Warzone podcast. We kind of wrote him off on our show that first week when he went for over 100. But he's been really good. 94 yards in 4 of his last 5, double-digit fantasy points in standard scoring, aka God scoring, for those last 5, obviously, with a few touchdowns in there. So
the Werther's candy of scoring.
I'm going to go with a running back that is inside my top 20 this week. He's had double-digit fantasy points the last 2 weeks, and this is he's been getting a lot of touches, just about 20 touches the last 2 games since getting his opportunity, and that's Elijah McGuire of the Jets. They're going to be at home playing the Green Bay Packers. I think he's in for another 20-touch game. I think he can find the end zone. And, for reference, like I'm playing him this week over guys like Leonard Fournette, Mark Ingram. I'm playing him over whoever starts for Houston and anybody on the Patriots as well. So I like McGuire quite a bit.
Are you going to start McGuire over Foster?
Over
Robert Foster. Because actually in my standard scoring league, I have Elijah McGuire and Foster, and that's who I'm deciding between my flexes.
Yep, I'm going. I love Foster, but and I like the upside of him, but his targets have been pretty low. So usually, even in PPR, I'd go with McGuire just because Foster doesn't get a lot of receptions. He had 7 2 weeks ago, but other than that, it's usually 4 or less.
4,
yeah. So I like McGuire just because you have a better opportunity just touches.
That floor is higher. I got you.
Yeah, for sure. So I would go that route, especially in standard scoring. So. My sit of the week is I've tried to turn him into the whipping boy over on the Fellas podcast because I own this guy on a team and he is frustrating as hell. And that's Calvin Ridley. The guy is not. He has in the entire season he has 3 games over 50 yards. So unless he scores a touchdown, he just poops all over the place. In the last 7 games, he has 5 or less points in 5 of those. So it's not something that you want on your fantasy squad. I'll take all those, both wide receivers that Seth mentioned clearly over him. And there's just a bunch of wide receivers I take over Calvin Ridley. I have him just buried in my rankings, and it's one, he'd be better fit to be a tight end. You're just praying for that touchdown. Otherwise,
he's a top 10 tight end.
Yeah, exactly. So come on, Falcons, move him over, and then all of the fantasy community can yell and scream at the platforms to give him tight end eligibility. That's always fun.
I'm going to allow you to retort as Kyle is besmirching the good name of your Atlanta Falcons.
Mate, I was listening to that, and just another reason why, just to add to the list of I don't like Carl. Seth just keeps moving up. Just keep moving up, Seth. So, look, mate, I obviously do far too much homework, and this is why I spend too much time in front of the computer, because I wrote down flex starts for every position, and sit for every position, so we're not going to go through them all. So I'll just pick out the best ones. So my flex start of the week, I'm going to go James White. He was on track to have the most receptions on any single season for running back. And then, bloody Belichick does Belichick shit, and the team just fell apart without him. When he's had 12 carries or under, the Patriots are zip and 5. And when he's had over 12, they're 9 and zip. It's not a hard one to work out. So McDaniels came out this week, and the genius that he is came out and says, well, we've got to get James White, needs to get the ball a bit more often. Well, that's pretty goddamn obvious if you look at those numbers. So and look how good the Patriots were when he's scoring, and he's just so versatile. So hopefully he's my start of the week, and I need him to start because I got him in a few leagues. So that's not a good sign if I'm sticking him up there. Just another one, I reckon. Just on the wide receiver side, I think Robbie Anderson. Look, I don't know where Green Bay's at now. I think they've just pretty much packed up the suitcase and just starting to thinking about holidays and where they're going and booking the overseas trips into the Bahamas, wherever the hell footballers go. look, speed kills Green Bay too. We've had Goodwin's, slaughtered him for 126-2. Julio's gone for 106-2. Thielen's gone for 131-1. Vandale Scantling went for 101. Even Galladay went for 98-1. So they get burned a fair bit, and Robbie Anderson's got that. The only problem being that he'll be up against a guy with just as much speed this week, and that's Jair Alexander. So it'd be a bit of a tough matchup, but he's got a bit of a thing going on at the moment with his QB down there. So we'll just see what happens. On the sit side, I put Corey Davis in there about 3 weeks ago, and he made me eat my words for a couple of weeks. So I don't want to do that again because I'm probably going to play against Corey Davis this week. So I'm going to put Matt Breida in there against the Bears. He looked good on the weekend, but just at the end of the game, he tweaked his ankle once again. So, and Jeff Wilson's getting a fair few carries. So I think they'll probably just, I hope they just sort of, Cole just decides to put him, on ice. Don't wreck his ankle any more than it has to be. And Wilson's running for 4.4 a carry. He's actually averaging 8.7 per touch. So Matt Breida, I think, might be a bit of a sit this week.
I love the Robbie Anderson call. I saw an article come out a couple days ago. I think it was Pro Football Focus. And they're talking about how Sam Darnold says that's who he looks to when he's trying to extend a play. So I'll hit you with mine real quick. Kyle's going to love my start of the week. It's Marlon Mack. He had a great game against the Cowboys. He's got another great matchup against the NFC East this week. The New York Giants have given up 118 or more rushing yards in 6 of their last 7. And in the 7th game, they gave up 84. I just love Marlon Mack. The Giants' rushing defense has been crap since they traded Snacks Harrison to the Lions. So I like that. And then my sit of the week is Josh Adams. He's up against the top 5 rushing defense in Houston. And then you add in the fact that Wendell Smallwood got a lot more work last week, and he doesn't catch the ball. I mean, he couldn't catch the clap in a whorehouse. So he and it's a you've been waiting for it all show. It's a PPR
on a T-shirt. I promise you.
Oh, it's going to go on the first ever Dynasty Warzone. On the first ever Dynasty Warzone. So Mac is my start, and Adams is my sit. I'll go right into my quarterbacks. My quarterback, it's kind of hard to call Russell Wilson a start of the week. He used to be an automatic, but he's not been so much this week. But against the 29th ranked Chiefs, against the fantasy quarterback, can't miss it. And that Chiefs defense over the last, several weeks, they're giving up 34 points a game on the road this year. So I love me some Russell Wilson. My sit of the week is Tom Brady. No Josh Gordon. He's up against the number 1 pass defense against the fantasy QB. And I love G's call of the James White start. So Tom Brady has killed you historically the last few years in the fantasy playoffs, and I don't see this week being any different. So I'm going to go backwards. G, who are your QB starts and sits of the week?
Mate, my sit is yours, mate. It's spot on. I think Brady's going to have a bit more of a harder time this week. I think they're going to probably run the ball. Would it be fair to say that he's starting to look 40-plus years old?
Yeah, that avocado ice cream's catching up with him or whatever the hell he eats. I mean,
I went past the shop the other day and it had avocado milkshake.
Oh, perfect.
So he's starting to spread out.
You're gonna see Tom's gonna be strutting by with in
his Ugg boots
before you know it. Yeah, same page. I love it.
And my start, I'm going to roll with him. I'm going to keep rolling with him all year, and I'm going to go with Mayhem. I think it could be a bit of a high-scoring game. And he's just, look, we all know who I'm talking about, don't we?
No.
Mayhem? I was thinking of Kyle.
No, Patty Mahomes. That's my nickname for him. I've named him Mahomes.
I was thinking of that Allstate commercial guy.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Like, I don't want him on my squad.
What was it? Was it Showtime?
Yeah, that was the nickname his dad gave him or something.
Oh, was it? I thought it's one he gave himself, and you can't give yourself your own nickname. Or was it the commentators on Monday night? Was it trying to throw it down our throat every time he threw the ball? They've done a great job on Monday Night Football.
I watched that game on mute.
Just another ex-Cowboy doing ex-Cowboy things.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. And look, who's the dude on the side? The blocks a view of
Stephen Hawking.
Blocks a view of about 5,000 paying people.
Yes. Hey, what the hell is that?
The Booger Mobile is an abomination.
Mate, could someone please tell? They have invented a thing. It's called a GoPro. Okay, and you can put it on a selfie stick and hold it in the air, and he can sit there and look at a screen and see exactly the same thing he's looking through a GoPro, and no one's view is going to be blocked. This technology has come a long way. Is it ESPN?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Yep.
Enough said.
I hate that guy. That is just the worst.
ESPN makes more bad decisions than Josh Gordon.
Oh, damn. Hot take from Memphis.
There goes that ESPN podcast that guy always dreamed of.
Yes.
So they're my two.
All right, Jerry, who are your QB starts and sits of the week? Is one of them Matt Stafford? Tell me it's Matt Stafford.
No, he would be sit of the week if it was, but no, it's not. I'm piggybacking off of you for my start of the week, Russell Wilson against Kansas City, for all the reasons you just stated. As far as the sit of the week, Jared Goff, man. That dude fell off a cliff and is just he's breaking every bone and he's hitting every rock on his way down. I think he's got like 8 turnovers in the last 3 games, 1 touchdown. Plus he's got to go against Arizona and Patrick Peterson. No, thank you. That's, he probably helped you get to the playoffs, and then you got there, and he just gave you a poop sandwich that you could just chomp on.
I actually said to Memphis today that the cracks are starting to show in his maybe his belief in himself a little bit, and the cracks are getting so wide you need a fair bit of silicon to patch him up, and Memphis was good enough to remind me that he plays in LA, and there's tons of silicon out there.
A lot of silicone out in L.A. for damn sure. No, I said this on Twitter during that Sunday night game with the Bears, and I know he had that great Monday night game where he threw like a bajillion touchdown passes, but he does not look the same without Cooper Kupp. And I know everybody wants to anoint Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks as the best wide receiver in L.A., but I disagree. It's Cooper Kupp. And from a dynasty standpoint, if there's a Rams receiver I'm trying to get, it's Cooper Kupp. I mean, I think he's going to be of the Caucasian wide receivers, I think he's the next Jordy or the next Adam Thielen. And, that's a guy with wide receiver, top 5 upside. I mean, he was there earlier in the season. So when a quarterback loses his security blanket, he's like, there's a reason why Josh Reynolds had 12 targets last week, because he's playing the role Cooper Kupp plays. And the difference is he doesn't have the rapport with Jared Goff. So I think that's another good call as well. Kyle, tell me Dak is your sit of the week.
Dak, my sit, Dak's in my top 12 this week. He's over a lot of guys. There's some big name guys you guys have already mentioned that you could definitely sit. I'm going to go, there's a guy I have ranked 1 spot above Dak Prescott, because I'm going to do the kind thing here and leave the player that I know my co-host is going to pick out there for him to discuss. But I'm going with the rookie sensation, the man with the wheels, the White Thunder, Josh Allen. The man is going to New England. He's going to light it up for your fantasy team this week.
Sounds vaguely racist, but
everybody thought I was talking about Lamar Jackson. So because he runs and stuff, but Josh Allen, he's actually doing it better, and he can throw the ball to get you at least 200 passing yards. He's gone over 200 passing yards the last 3 games. Yeah, whoopee, that doesn't sound great for a quarterback, but the dude rushes a ton. He has at least 9 rush attempts each of the last 4 weeks. He's been getting you a decent fantasy floor, and I think in this game, he's going to do that again for your fantasy team. I have him at 10 in my rankings this week, and I have him above everybody that has already been discussed here as far as sits go. So you definitely rolling Josh Allen, in my opinion. I'm playing him over Tom Brady in that same matchup. I think Allen is a nice play this week. The Patriots on the season are giving up the 9th most fantasy points to the quarterback position. And, Watson, Bortles, and Trubisky have 35 rushing yards or more in their 3 games against the Pats. So I think Josh Allen's going to light them up for at least 50. So that's a nice little floor 5. It'll get you a couple touchdowns. My sit of the week, I agree with everybody that's been brought up already. I'm going to go with maybe a little bit more of an obvious one, but just making sure people aren't going off name recognition at this point in the season. We have enough data to show that Kirk Cousins ain't that good at football. And I know he's playing the Lions this week, so Jerry will be happy when his Lions pick up a victory to help their draft stock. But Cousins,
they can't do anything right.
No,
they can't even tank right.
Cousins has got 215 yards or less in each of his last 3 games. You want to steer clear of this guy. I know it's not a primetime game, so maybe, he decides to show up. But Kirk Cousins buried for me this week on the road at Detroit. You're starting all of the waiver wiry type guys and the rookie quarterbacks, like Jackson and Allen over him. So I'm getting away from Cousins.
All right, and then we're going to wrap this up with G's favorite fantasy football fella, Seth.
I mean, you still ended up taking my sit of the week there, Kyle. So congratulations.
No, well,
let's go with the starts first. I'm going to go with Drew Brees as
what
the start
hell?
of the week. Yep.
I leave you your guy and you go Drew Brees.
I'm crazy, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's basically, I've been up for so long, it feels like at this point. I'm losing my mind. All right, Drew Brees is going to be in my top 5 quarterback ranks this week. He already is. He's going to stay there. Maybe I'm crazy because I've been relying on him the last couple of weeks, and it's not worked out well. One of the finals that I should have been in is against G in the Aussie Guys League of Villains, but I couldn't get 9 points out of Drew Brees last week. So I will not be playing G in a second league. I'm still going back to him because Pittsburgh is a good opponent, but Drew Brees is back in the dome, back at home, and they really actually do need to win this game in order to hold on to the 1 seed. So I think that Drew Brees will be throwing like a champion that he is, and it'll be just fine. I'm trusting him in week 16. And then for the sits, I'm going to go with one that you don't absolutely have to sit this guy, but there are several players I would go over him that maybe normally you wouldn't do. So I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson as a possible sit in terms of I don't think there's much upside against Philly this week for Deshaun Watson. He is in my top 12, but I'd play Josh Allen over him. I'd play Lamar Jackson over him. I'd play Baker Mayfield over him. I have Baker Mayfield in my top 5, too. I'm sure that's the one Kyle thought I was going to do.
Yes!
Yeah, there you go. Wild card. I don't know. And then Deshaun Watson, I just think he has a decent floor, but not much upside in the way that they want to run their offense. And that's it.
Well, the Drew Brees one's going to be interesting because, to your point, they do want to win that game. Because if they win that game, they lock up the number 1 seed, and they can take it easy next week in Week 17. They do play Carolina again, so if for some reason they were to lose to Pittsburgh, then they could still clinch home field throughout next week. But any team wants to win that game, get everything locked up as quick as you can. Then next week you can play your starters a half and then give them some extra rest and give them going into that bye week. So, well, listen, G, anything else to add? This is your podcast. We just kind of came in and take over. That's what Americans do. Ask the Iraqis.
Well, you too. Team America. Fuck yeah.
America.
We just put the R rating on there. That's fine. No, man, you're doing a great job. This is what I usually do with Adrian. Just takes it over, and I just sit here and with my good looks, which don't really work, as you see, on a podcast. But I'm just telling you that they are. No, mate, that's perfect. But I think we still got one more segment to go. Just one.
Oh yeah, one. You know what? There's a little thing going on Tuesday. There's a little something going on Tuesday. If you're not busy, it's called Christmas. Hey, you got some jingle bells there for me, G?
Yeah.
There we go. Santa Claus is coming to town. So we're going to go around the horn one last time. We're going to ask everybody, what are you looking forward to eating? Because the fellas and myself and Jerry are a big fan of food. Now, G is in great shape. He was in Bali last couple of weeks, and he posted like a shirtless selfie. I'm like, what's this guy's? This guy's ripped to shreds. This guy's eating broccoli and chicken for Christmas. But I'm gonna go around the horn one time, and I'm gonna ask Jerry. Jerry, what are you looking forward to eating on the 25th?
Honey baked ham, man. That's every holiday.
Amen.
I'm not a turkey guy, so even on Thanksgiving, I always want ham. That goes double time for Christmas. Just give me the ham and whatever sides you want, because it doesn't matter, because I can just smash the ham until the end of time.
Mr. Kyle?
I don't know if I have like a specific food that is just for Christmas or that I eat just at the holidays, but I will be going to my parents' house at some point this once I peel myself off the couch from Sunday's action. But I'm gonna go with potato casserole, and this thing is just an awful mess. It's like a crap ton of hash browns, and it's just an excuse to eat like cheese and sour cream all at the same time. So it's just a massive dish that I will pretty much fill half my plate with, and the other half I'll fill with Mar potato casserole. So I'm gonna go with that.
That's not crisp, mate. What did you say hash brown?
Hash brown.
With cheese.
Yeah.
That's not. Mate, you do just have a really weird sense of Christmas.
What do you want me to do? I just cram a candy cane in there, or
it's like something to do. At least something green.
Green?
Something green.
Green or red Christmas colors.
I'll bring my own broccoli. I'll bring my own broccoli. And,
green's the color of the Monster logo on the can of Monster he's washing that down with. All right, Seth, what do you eat on the 25th?
I'm with Jerry. I will go ham on some ham. It is just delightful. But other than that, it'll be half ham, and then it'll be half like Christmas cookies. All kinds, doesn't matter. They're delightful, and in all the red and green colors. So G is not offended there. So we do have the colors going on there. See, this is how I get to be the favorite of the two. Is just I pander to my audience that isn't Kyle. So
you pander well. You're good.
I've
had a lot of practice.
A lot of love here.
Yeah,
he tricks the hell out of everyone, doesn't he?
well, me, like a lot of people, I have to go to multiple locations on Christmas because, nothing says I love my family like traveling around all day by car. But we usually start with breakfast at my mom's house, and my mom makes the best sausage, biscuits, and gravy. So I'll do ham in the afternoon with my wife's family, but in the morning, man, I don't eat it anymore, but like when I'm at my mom's house, sausage, biscuits, and gravy is amazing. I've loved it since I was a little kid, and it's something that I look forward to because I only get it literally once a year. So I'm counting down the days till I get to have breakfast with my mom. So, G, bring this thing home. What are you guys eating? You guys have a nice spinach casserole with extra spinach?
What green and red dish are you shoveling in this year?
Mate, I'm just writing all this stuff, mate. Sausage. What was it? Sausage, biscuits, and gravy. Was it?
When you come to the States, when I get you here,
what you guys are eating over there.
When I get you here for a visit to the States, and I take you to a Colts game. I'm gonna take you about 60 miles north of Indianapolis, my hometown, and I'll have my mother make you the best sausage, biscuits, and gravy you've ever had in your entire life. It's just biscuits, and it's like a white gravy with I don't even know how she makes it. I have no clue. And sausage, and then it's amazing.
It's the best hangover cure too.
Amen.
It's not the food. It's just when you eat it. Christmas Day is just look. I was brought up. My dad's British, so we're very traditional when it comes to Christmas.
Fish and chips, then.
Soggy chips too at that. No, so we just I like everything Christmas, just like you see in the movies. So it's just a one time a year that I'm sort of like that. But my favourite, man, is Christmas pud. I love Christmas pud. My mother-in-law. Do you have Christmas pud?
No. What? I don't even know what that is.
It's
Christmas pudding.
Yeah,
Christmas pudding.
Oh, okay.
Is it green?
No, it's not green. It's in there. Green and red. Sultanas, I think's in there. Something like that. But she makes it herself, my mother-in-law, and you got to hang it up for like 2 months in some bag thing to let it cure and ferment and let all the alcohol come out of it. So yeah, Christmas pud. I have ice cream, brandy custard, all in one big bowl. And I only have that once a year. You could probably have it every day of the week if you really loved it, but it's my favourite dessert of all time, but I only save it for this one day of the year to make it special, and then I go into a food coma for about 3 hours.
Man, when I go to Australia, I'm going to need that in my life because
dude, it's good.
I'm planning 2020 Australia. Who's with me, fellas?
Hell yeah!
Win all your fantasy football leagues. Save your money.
I'm scared of their spiders, but
yeah, they're the size of an American football.
It's not the spiders you have to worry about, mate. It's the goddamn snakes.
I'm scared of G kicking my ass if I say the wrong thing. This guy.
I was worried until I saw the photo. Now I'm not too worried anymore.
Thanks.
Well, in the sake of time, and we got to get a couple of these fellas off to their day job. I want to thank G for inviting me on his podcast, and glad to help with our boy AJ out there on the high seas, cruising around, drinking booze. Yeah, hanging out with the fam. G, anything to add before we let these guys go to work?
No, well, look, mate, thanks everybody for coming on. It's great to talk to you guys. We'll have to, once the season's over, we'll just have to have it like some ridiculous, stupid, even if we can get it even more stupid than this, a pod just to go over the season. I'm sure AJ is going to be listening to this, so he'd appreciate Memphis coming on and hosting the pod, which is great because I have absolutely no idea and I'm totally IT illiterate. And Jerry, great to talk to you for the first time, mate. It won't be the last.
No, absolutely not. And I know how you feel because I do the same thing with Randy on the Dynasty Warzone. I just nod my head and smile a bunch when he talks technical stuff and just let him do his thing.
Look, without guys like Memphis and AJ, man, I'd just be talking to my family
and Seth.
They'd get sick of me pretty quick.
Although we had producer Kyle for a week a while back on the fantasy football.
That was the worst week of my life. I told Seth, I'm like, get your ass back here. I need you to take this back over because I can't handle multitasking. So he's the man, dude, for sure.
Yeah, but just thanks everybody for coming on and making it a good show for the last one of the season. Look, I hope everybody playing your Dynasty this week or your redraft or whatever it is, your finals. Good luck unless you're playing me.
All right. Well, on behalf of G on his show, this is the Aussie Guys podcast, and we'll see you next time.